Hello everybody. Today we're going to be filming a car that you guys love to hate, but I don't get much time these days to go out and film new cars. Dealerships are pretty empty actually of cars. Well, you guys probably already know that. And today what I wanted to do is I wanted to film this vehicle. This is my wife's 2016 Forester, and in particular I wanted to show you how awkward it is to change air filters in this car. Now, see, here we go. Got a nice Subaru key. Alright, so let's check this out. Let's pull this. So, also, we're going to be changing the in-cabin air filter, which, for whatever reason, I thought that Lincoln Town cars also have, but apparently not. But this one does. So, let's see. Where's this thing? Alright, there we go. So it did rain a lot, so that's obviously where all this stuff is coming from. And in particular, the stuff that's a problem is right here. So from looking at it, just like this, you would think, well, you unclip this, you unclip that, and it should fall apart. But not so fast. And the reason for that is because it's actually, there's a screw in there, which, until I actually saw it, it didn't make it, like, I had no idea what's going on in there. But at the same time, when I realized that, things kind of became easier. But at the same time, I realized that to make this thing kind of more cooperative, you would I'll show you kind of what I rigged. And kudos for making the headlights kind of easier. Let's see. So the headlights can be removed relatively easy from down here. You don't have to remove the entire housing. But the... Oh. No, it's okay. It's okay. we got a guest here. All right. Well, we had a little animal intrusion here, but it's a neighbor's dog, very friendly. So anyway, kudos for making the headlights a bit more accessible, and also I think it only requires these two bolts to remove the entire housing here. But why did they make this thing so awkward? No clue. So, but we're gonna start with that. So let's see how it goes. Alright, so hopefully you guys can see that. But basically, what you have to do in order not to start unscrewing stuff, because if you guys know me, I'm not a big fan of going into cars or even working on my own cars, believe it or not. But I do this stuff like this. You kind of have to lift it up and then just use the plastic, the flexibility of the plastic, to kind of wiggle its way out. You can kind of see the filter is starting to show, but it's almost like you have to, there you go, you have to take this thing from between the two halves. Now I know what you're thinking, Vitaly. It doesn't take a genius to remove the screw, but at the same time, if this is something that has to be done on a regular basis, why do you have to do that? Why do manufacturers make it hard, or harder than it really has to be, for people like me who just want to, who wants to do the right thing by their car? And kind of see it's not that dirty, but I don't need to start unscrewing stuff. There's actually a second screw now that I'm in there more in depth, and there's some leaves in there. To just push them out a little, they'll fall to the ground. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this plastic is actually, so there's a screw there, and I just saw another screw there, so I thought it was two. I thought it was one, but it's actually two. So what are you gonna do? All right, so now with this thing out, I don't use like the factory stuff. In my experience, if you change them yearly or so, it shouldn't really matter, as long as you get the right one. And you can kind of see, it's the same thing. This is the number for, at least for mine, 2016. It says change air filter every 12,000 miles. I guess it's, the idea is every year, but if you don't drive that much, you know, you should be okay. Alright, so this one's gonna go in the trash. And I think this is exactly the same one I had in there before. Alright, so there you go. So maybe the plastics are not as such a high quality, you know, maybe it's made in China instead of Japan or wherever is the other one made in, but you know, I'm okay with it. So now I have to get it in there, and that's the easy part. Alright, so I probably spent way more time on this than I really should, but basically you have to really work this thing to get it all lined up in there, and it's very awkward. And I guess the alternative would be to loosen this thing up and then take this whole housing off. But then once again, why do you have to do this? It's a pretty common part. Why can't manufacturers make it easy, just some sort of a, you know, a cartridge drop-in or something? I don't know. Well, I guess that's why they want us to use dealership service for people like me. Don't mess with it. All right, so one problem solved. The second problem is right here. Now, I'll be honest with you, I haven't changed this filter for my wife's car in probably 2 years. I honestly forgot all about it. Obviously she doesn't remind me or even knows about its existence. So we're going to be doing this. So I do know you have to release this little retention thing that makes it retract smoothly, or I mean doesn't flop back. Now this is your typical nurse's glove box. You can see a bunch of masks and stuff like this, so I'm gonna try to remove it without being too disruptive. But once again, you know, it's all solid plastic, and the first time I did this I thought I was gonna break the damn thing, but then after a couple times I realized that the plastic is a lot thicker, and it's not really gonna hurt it unless you really go beast mode on this thing. So let's see. Oh god, see, I did it before, so I would check to make sure that the filter needs to be changed, and now I can't do it. All right, well, there you go. Alrighty. Okay. So let's see. How do we want to film this? I don't even know. Alright, maybe like this. Alright. So as you can see right there, there's the filter. Apologies in advance for, well, actually no, not here, that I don't even know what this is, the white stuff. Oops. Alright, so the filter is actually this whole thing right there, which I think you have to pinch or something, and then pull this thing out. Okay, 2 hands are needed. So this is what about a 2-year-old in-cabin air filter looks like. Not very pretty looking thing. You can see a lot of crap in there. Now it is kind of grayish looking from the onset, I think, when it's new. Well, we'll see. We're gonna unpack the new one, and yeah, and I remember why I didn't change it as often is because it's a pain. You can see a bunch of crap in there, and time to change it. All right, let's bring out the new one. Alrighty, so here you go. Yeah, you can see it's kind of grayish looking on the box. There's the model. It's interesting how they have like an older Highlander thing in here. Yeah, so you can see it is kind of grayish looking piece of material. It is nicely wrapped, also aftermarket. I think each one was like 12 bucks or something like that. The factory ones are probably $24.99 or whatever the case might be. Alright, and it's interesting how it does come with this housing already kind of built in. You would think that the housing would stay and you would just slide in the new cartridge thing. But yeah, once again, why do manufacturers make these things more difficult than it really is? Or even more expensive for them? Like, you know, the whole housing needs to be manufactured with the filter. I don't know. Now in this case, the reinstallation is pretty easy. You do have to line it up so that the push thing is facing upward, and then it just slides in. In this case, it is like kind of like a printer cartridge. It just slides back in, and then the glove box itself, I think, is relatively easy. It just goes, these bottom hooks need to be put in. Alright, well, nothing is easy, of course, in this life. Okay, folks, this is how we do it. Now, once again, for some of you, you're like, good God, man, can't you do anything yourself? And the answer to that is yes, I can, but I want it to be easier. So, in any case, this is my filter, air filters change, the in-cabin and engine. Yeah, I'm glad that on the town car, which is right over there, it's much easier to operate this housing, and then there is nothing inside, so it makes it easier, I guess. Well, we'll see everybody.